Hello, fine folks, and welcome to Booghy Plays. Today, you have. Okay. So, welcome to Booghy Plays. Today, I'm not playing. Right now, we're not playing. I'm doing an interview with I couldn't say is one of the one of the big names of this industry, but it's one of my favorite designers because uh, one of his games is my favorite game of all time, or it's trading places with another game for my favorite game of all time. The designer of this, I have taken out this smaller box because the bigger box is just harder to get out. This is Arcade, the card game. Um, so my favorite game, if as you have seen, is Arkwright, which trades place with Kanban from time to time. Um, so I'm very happy to, and also Gentes and a few other smaller games, Euro games, and a designer that I'm very happy to have on and in an interview today, Stefan Risthaus. Welcome, Stefan, to Booghy Plays, and welcome to my series of interviews. And thank you for accepting my invitation.
Thank you for your kind words, and I'm happy to be here.
I'm glad you are happy to be here because we're going to test you with a lot of questions. We want to hear about you, or I want to hear about you. I don't know about other people if they're interested to know a lot about you, but I'm very interested to know. I'm going to, be sorry a bit for my voice. It is a tiny bit out of order. Hopefully, I got a bit of a cold, but it will pass. So again, be kind. Not the greatest voice in the world. You'll have to live with it for this interview. So the first part of the interview is all about you, and we want to go all the way back and talk a bit about who is and how Stefan Risthaus became who became. And I want to start all the way back to where were you born and where did you grow up?
Yes, I was born in Hanover, in northern part of Germany, Lower Saxony, and I grew up there for only a little bit more than 1 year. But I was living in the area here in Lower Saxony for almost all of my life. Uh, I have studied in Osnabrück. Not sure if you know it. It's
No.
the western part of Lower Saxony near the Dutch border.
I see. I see. Let's not hurry too much, and let's take it step by step. So you were born in Hanover. You grew up there. What were your parents' professions? What did they do?
They were trader for insurance and yes, working in the retail of food and something like that in a small store in our village.
I see. So your I suppose your father was a trader and your mother worked
Yeah,
in the industry. Did you have any siblings?
pardon?
Did you have any siblings, brothers, sisters?
Yes, I have a sister, an
Oh,
older one, so it was very hard in my childhood.
that's what I. This is what I'm getting. But let's take it slow. Could you tell us a bit about how is it to grow up in a small village in Germany? What is life in a small village in Germany?
When I was a child, it was quite okay because there were some stores around and some buses that could be taken into the bigger town for, let's say, 15 minutes or something. Right now, when I go back to where I grew up, there is no store anymore in the village. So if you want to um, buy some things, you need to go by car to another village. So it's getting worse what infrastructure is concerned. But yes, it's of course a little bit more nature, more fresh air than some people may have in the main cities.
The main cities. Um, were, I suppose you're a child. You were born in the 80s or the 70s.
Not really. I'm more than 50 years old now,
So
so
that's good. So you are a practically you're a child of the 80s. Let's
yes,
late
you can
80s.
say.
Say let's 80s, late 80s. Um, how was the so were there a lot of kids then? What was what did you I suppose you went all through from first to eighth grade. You went there. You lived there, right? And through high school also in that area.
Yeah.
How was the? Were there lots of kids? Did you start playing? What playing meant back then in rural Germany?
Yeah. Um, in my early childhood, we were not playing too much. We were playing some card games in the family, some usual games like Monopoly or something like that, but not too often. Mainly, we were in fresh air playing football or soccer or tennis or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I see. So, so your playing meant is being outside,
Yeah.
being outside as a child. You are speaking about playing a bit of board games with the family. Did you have something regular which you did with your family, or you just played from time to time because it was a good time? It was a good way of killing time.
Yes, it's from time to time. It was not a regular meeting like every Sunday or something like that. But it was more from time to time when we wanted to do something together.
Yeah. Um, so, how was growing up with a bigger sister?
Yes, I was just kidding. It was not too hard. To the contrary, it was that I was the younger one, and most of the bad things were pushed against her because if something was not so good, then of course the elder one was the one who was in charge for or was responsible for
So, for what
things
happened?
going bad.
I see. Did you play any games with her? What was she part of your gaming grow up period?
Not at the beginning because she's more than 4 years older than me, so we were not in the same uh, groups in school or something. But later we played together two-player games from that time. So sometimes MB games or um, no one knows them today, but they
You
were up to date at that time.
so parents were buying games at that time.
Not too much, only the usual ones like Game of Life, Spiel des Lebens in Germany, or Four in a Row, Vier gewinnt, something like that.
I see. So what was probably mass market games back then?
Yeah, yeah.
Do you remember that if in that during that time board gaming already a thing in Germany?
Yes, I think it started with the establishing of the Game of the Year award, Spiel des Jahres, in 1978, when the jury was established and then started to work. And it grew step by step.
Uh-huh.
Um,
So
it
not
was not too popular in everyday life in our groups, but it started
it
then.
started, yeah. Um, that's so. But as a child, were you aware of the existing of this world of board gaming, or
Yes, a little bit because when I went to the high school or let's say middle school, then I had to go to the next bigger city. It's Hildesheim, and when I had to wait for the bus, there was a library with games to use and to play them in the library. And then I were in contact with games like Stratego or Hase and Igel, first game of the year.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
So slowly, hey Paul, welcome, Paul Grogan. He says that Gentes is an amazing game.
yeah.
Uh,
Thank you.
so you went to high school, and then through after high school, I suppose you went to university.
Yeah.
Um, in these years, high school, university, did you did you play a lot of games? Did it was it a part of your life playing games?
Yes, it started then. With my former girlfriend, I played Civilization, the board game, at that time, and because we were both interested in historical themes and in of course spending time together, and then we played some other games, and of course the big hype started with Settlers of Catan in the mid 90s when I was studying laws in Osnabrück.
Okay, that's what I wanted to ask you. What did you study at university?
Yes, it was laws, so I'm an attorney.
You're an attorney at law. Oh, okay. Oh, I'll have to be very careful what I say. Uh,
That's the first reaction of most people.
I think
Just
it.
relax.
It was a joke. Um, so, so, so you start practically, uh, let's say, modern board games. Were you are invested in gaming since you were a teenager, more or less?
Yeah.
Practically the modern board game craziness was not. Did it? I don't know. Take you by surprise? Did it make you come more into the hobby, or it was just oh look some more nice stuff? Let's get more into it, more into it, more into it.
Yes, it was a slow development step by step. We played board games in the early 90s. Adel verpflichtet from Klaus Teuber was one of the games of the years that I got for Christmas, and we played it a lot. And during the 90s, I learned more and more games, in particular from Klaus Teuber and Wolfgang Kramer. And at the end of the 90s, we started to visit the Essen Fair. And then, of course, there was no stop anymore.
I see. Um, was as unfair as crazy back then as it is today?
Not really. It was more slowly, more calm, not that hurrying crowd all around.
um, what drew you in into this world of board gaming? What made you stick to it?
Well, I think it's spending time with other people, doing something more than just talking about things, learning new games, try to find the best way to solve puzzles and problems that are created by the game designer and the publisher and the game itself, and find new ways to play the game more and more.
Okay, and what kind of a player are you, or have you developed into? What do you enjoy the most? What do you like playing the most?
Yeah, the games with some engine building, something that you have not too much abilities at the beginning, but you may gain more and more options to use things and resources and spend them for creating new ways to play. Um, of course, it's when you do more expert games, when you play
Uh,
or create shorter games, it's all what you can think of. Let's say push your luck or rolling dice, playing cards, everything's fine.
Um, do you play any, I don't know, party games, social interacting games? Do you enjoy any of those?
Yes, I'm not too much a fan of those games, but my most important point in playing games is what is the kind of group I'm in today. Is it a group who likes playing party games? Then I play party games with them, more or less to spend time with them, not because I like the game too much. But if it is up to me to decide what we will play this evening, I would not choose party games in first first line.
Do you have a favorite party game? Out of all the crazy party games out there, do you have a?
Okay, if it comes to party games in the main sense, it's very difficult to find something I like really. But if it comes to word games, I would say just one is one of those that I
Yeah.
like.
So, I see. So, games were like we have established that games were a huge part of your life since you were a child. Is it? Do you play a lot these days? Do you play? You are married. You have. Do you have any children of your own?
Yes, we have two childs, a boy and a girl.
Do they enjoy gaming? They play
From time
games.
to time, they are not that enthusiastic than we are, but they play games as well. Yeah.
So do you have a family night or a family game day? Do you have such things like these?
No, it's more by chance. So if we are together and we are in the mood of playing games, we do it, but we do not have a regular
I see.
gaming
I
night in
see.
the family. We
So,
have a gaming group every week on Wednesday with friends. And of course, if there are some game nights in the area or game days, we try to take part,
I see. Your wife is also a game designer.
right?
You're also a publisher having Goshtia Spiele. You are in this. You are at the deep end of the of this hobby. What at some point in your life, after playing more and more, you started to think, well, I might want to take a stab at trying to be a board game designer. How this idea came to you?
The first ideas were very early, but they were much too complicated and much too
What?
yeah, thematic and something like dinosaurs and
Oh yeah.
what was fancier at that days.
So from
But
dinosaurs, you got to work right to the industrial revolution.
and a racing game from Formula One game was very early. But
Sorry to interrupt you. What is early? What does early means?
so okay. When I was, let's say, 12 or 13,
Okay,
that around. So, but then it stopped more or less, and the serious working on games started in the mid 90s.
okay,
Before Catan started, and after Catan started, then there was a competition for new scenarios, and um, Heike and I we developed some and presented them to Cosmos, and they accepted two of them for their book of
okay.
scenarios, and that was the key moment where I noticed, okay, not all of your ideas are bad and too complicated and for waste paper basket, but maybe they are interesting to some people. And so I got the impression I need to work more and more on my ideas.
I see. Um, what? Um, how many? What is your first published game?
The first published games was in the center folder of the Spielbox in Germany, I would say the main magazine for board games.
Sorry.
And right after that, it was Ostia, the Harbor of Rome. I see in the chat that
Yeah.
someone has a copy here. Thank
Well,
you. Very early game. I think it was about 2004, so it is well,
a while back.
20 years of publishing games with my name on it.
So until then, how many designs you have shelved before you published your first game? How many were there? You scraped. You said, "Yeah, it's good, but I won't get it there." Or
No, yeah, difficult to say because there were some ideas, but most of them were not really tested or even played as a prototype, but were just ideas.
yeah.
But I think there were only, let's say, 6 to 10 or something like that. It was not too many.
But you have 6 to 10 is not is not a small number to say. Okay, 10 ideas. I've tried. I came up with something. It doesn't work until you get to something that starts to work. It's still time you invest in something which you have to put aside, realizing that it won't work the way I want it to work.
Yes,
So
by some ideas you learn very early that it is not a good idea. It was an idea, but not a good one. So you can cut a long story short and decline and say, well, that was it before you spent too much time into this. We say in Germany, do not ride on a dead horse. So
a dead horse. Yeah. So sorry for that. Let's start from here and let's go forward from here. Did you have a design philosophy from the beginning, or it started to develop during the years?
sorry.
Did you have a design philosophy from the beginning, or you started to develop one during the years?
Okay, a philosophy. Wow. Just try to make games that are interesting to yourself and try to make something that is, yes, interesting for yourself because you need to have fun in developing it and do not try to make games that others may like and you do not are interested too much in. So it's not a work for me, it's fun and some kind of spare time. And so the philosophy is what is something that I like and I want to make and want to work on. So of course it needs to be accepted and interesting to other people because
You have to sell.
playtesters and something like that. But there's not something big like a philosophy.
Well, it is it is a philosophy. You don't need to write a treaty about it, but it still needs to be in the end a philosophy because when you create a game, you start to think of certain things that you want to put in that game. Maybe you want to create a game which fills a player with resources, or you like a game where the resources are tight, or that is part of a designer's philosophy in the end.
Yeah, if you go in this direction, then of course I try to have games with more than one aspect. So, for example, in Mountain Goats, it's not just climbing up the mountains and collect the chips, but to have a second level, namely spreading out to collect one of each of the tokens. So it's not just one aspect of a game, but there should be something more to develop and to explore during the game. So this is, if you want to call it a philosophy, it's something that I want to put into my games.
Do you work with a developer, or you like developing a game yourself?
Honestly, I'm not a good team player. So I like playing games that I have developed and I have the idea for. And I like to discuss with people and hear their opinions and their proposals. But in the end, I like to decide about my games by my own. I have a cooperation done with Heike for tea or coffee, but it's something different if you discuss games with your wife than with
Hi guys, your
cooperation
wife.
partners, business partners.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There is a pretty, yeah, pretty different. Your, let's say, your big coming out. I'm struggled right now. I'm struggling right now to remember the name of the small card game where you play a role and everybody else plays the same role, if I remember correctly, and then grow on three tracks. It's a small card game. Santo Domingo.
Yeah,
So you have made bigger games, smaller card games, but your bigger, let's say, the game that put you out there was Arkwright for the type of games you develop was Arkwright.
yep,
Arkwright is a big, uh, heavy, meaty game which has a lot of things to think about, and it offers you also, yeah, rewards for that. Um, do you start when you did Arkwright? Did you start from the theme and then build mechanisms, or you went the other way around?
no, this was a game that was clearly started from the theme because there was a competition in Germany from a newspaper that invited game designers to propose a game design for explaining uh, how economic works to pupils, and they sent me a small booklet to
Okay,
explain economic systems. And from that, I learned more or less the mechanics of Arkwright, namely more workers with jobs create more demand, something like that. And you have to do some advertising, some distribution efforts to sell your games more than other competitors in the same market. So it was a clear start from the theme and go to how can we make a game about economics.
I see.
And of course, it from playing time, it was not acceptable for pupils in schools. At some point, we realized that. But however, the competition was cancelled anyway before it come to an award or a final result, who would be the best game designer for this issue. But I took the game as it was to game designer convention here in Göttingen. Maybe you have heard of that, one of the biggest in Germany every year. And Uli Blennemann saw it and was interested immediately, and we talked about what was possible to make this game for a broader audience. And that what this was the start of the cooperation between Uli and me.
I see. So again, going back to it, it's a meaty, heavy, complex game, which makes a lot of sense if you start playing it and you kind of understand how economic works. Um, but yeah, it's hard. It's a harder making a heavier game. Um, Needs at certain point a good developer who is willing to cut the rough edges and create as much as you can a streamlined experience in in on into a heavy game. This is the hardest part to do, to create a heavy game that feels streamlined and feels elegant. Was developing that only you, or it was also you had the help of another developer?
No, the game was developed mainly by myself. Of course, I have done playtesting and collected feedback and tried to streamline some
Yeah.
rules, but as you may see from the final game, we did not cut too much away because Uli was developing Spielworks at that time, and his philosophy is to have a game that is um, as good as possible and not too streamlined as it may be the case in a Cosmos game or a Ravensburger or Schmidt-Spiele or whatever. So I am very happy to have this cooperation with Uli and his niche for complex games that do not need to be too much streamlined.
Um, do you have a problem? Stefan the designer has a problem with Stefan the developer. Do they clash?
Um, no, not too much. It's of course always helpful to take a look to a game and mechanics from different perspectives to see what is the best for the game. Um, and it depends on what the game is developed for. If I do a game for Uli, I am more the game designer who says, well, what is possible and what can we expect the players to accept and to learn for a big game. And if I start to develop, or if I am in developing a game for a broader audience, then of course I take the perspective of what can be done more streamlined and more easy to learn and more yes, faster than other
And, yeah.
options to develop this game.
Um, so you're talking about playtesting. Arkwright, for example, how many playtests did it have?
Wow, we did not count. It was a lot. It was very time costly, of course, but we tried to play a lot. And in the final version, I think we have done at least 25 or 30 games after the final rule set. And of course, a lot of plays before the rule set was finalized, and we tried different settings and different kind of development tiles and different design of the board and the play mats, and so it was I don't know, let's say 100 games at least.
At least, which for a heavy game means a lot of hours invested
Yes.
in that. Over 400 hours, over 400 hours invested in playtesting. Do when you balance things inside a game, do you take a mathematical approach, or do you take a tried and tested? Okay, this seems appropriate to be, I don't know, 3 money, but if I
Mm.
this one and this one seems to be okay to be 5, and then
Hmm.
play it and see if it works that way, or you take the mathematical one. I'm going to take this one as a 1 because this happens. This one should be a 2, this one should be a 3, and if when you do the equations it will work out. How do you, what's the process?
Yes. Honestly, it's more or less trial and error at the beginning, at least. At some point, of course, I got a feeling from playtesting what is worth what. But at some point, then I will sit down and take a look at all the playtestings we made and try to figure out why does it feel bad to have a reward of 3 victory points for that card and 10 points for the same card with another name, although they have almost the same requirements or something like that. I try to do it as early as possible, but honestly, it's the part of the work I do not like too much. So it's something I have to, yeah, I have to go and say, well, today I have fun in doing it, and these days are not too often. But of course, it is absolutely necessary, because you cannot play test a game 100 times just to find out that one card is has too much victory points on it compared to another one. If you have, let's say, 54 cards like in Gentis, you cannot play 2 or 3 games to find out per every card. So play almost 200 games just to figure out what card should get what kind
victory
of
points.
reward.
Yeah. So you have to have a sort of a mathematical approach to it in order to realize for this kind of this amount of cards what everything is worth.
I need some playtests to have a feeling for what should be the scale for each card or for the resources you spend.
So when you test, do you test higher player count to lower player count, higher player count? How do you think your design?
I try to playtest all, of course, in the end phase before
it is released. But how does the design start?
We have a playtest group of 2 other guys, so we are playing with 3 at the beginning for the time being, the past years. And this is a player count that is not a 2-player game, but it is faster than a 4-player game, so it's a sweet spot for first place. And of course, as often as it is possible, I try to playtest as early as possible with different player counts to be sure that the game scales up to the player count I'd like to target.
What when it comes to usually games don't work well. Most of Euro games, not all, or most of them, don't work best at a certain number of players. It is hard to create a game that works from 2 to 4. The best throughout the whole range plays as best as it can. It plays best as 2 as it plays at 4. That's why I usually ask, because from my own perspective, a lot of the games that I saw, I see play very well at 3 or 4, but not the scaling is not done for 2 players. Do you, because you have a wife, do you play a lot 2-player?
Yes, I do play with 2 players. I have one playtester that is domiciled not near to our city in Wolfsburg, but somewhere away, and we play online. So I have, let's say, a 2-player group, if you want to say it like this. Honestly, I do not too much playtesting with Heike in a 2-player situation, because when we play
for fun.
Other games, yes, for fun, and of course we play with other friends in a 3 or 4-player group, and sometimes we play our games as well in the family, but not too much.
Why do I ask you this? Because I'm trying to get somewhere. Because of player interaction. What kind of player interaction you or what's your design philosophy when it comes to player interaction?
I want to have player interaction that is not something like war or battle. I do not want to destroy um, something that other players have erected or built. I want interaction that gives you benefits when you do something that allows other people to use your buildings, or like in monuments, wonders of antiquity, you need to build your monuments, and others come around and get profits from them, and so do you when visiting their monuments. So I like interaction, but I do not like confrontation.
I see. Um, I think Arkwright is a good example because in Arkwright, the way that the market the people market, I want to say human market, the hiring market evolves or devolves the way other persons hire or or give up workers, because this way you can make wages more expensive also for others. You can make them, it's a subtlety, let's say, of design, which is very interesting. um, Now, going to what do you think, or how do you approach replayability in your games?
The playability,
Replayability.
replayability. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Okay. Um, of course, it is easy to have replayability with different setups. Uh, a card deck that is shuffled and
Yeah.
cards come out in a different order in each game. This is something I like, and of course, the variability, like in One Card Wonder, it's not one of my games, but we published it at Ostia Spiele. The combination of a wonder and a supporting building card that makes a game different every time, or some kind of chance like dice, for example, in Mountain Goats. That is something that I think is uh, important to have something that is different than last time. Of course, if you go to Arkwright, it's not the same, but it's very similar in the beginning because you choose your factories, but the game develops differently if the neutral player moves up quick or slow in one or the other market, and you have different combination of development tiles. So I think there needs something to be different in each setup that makes it interesting to use other tiles and use a different strategy. Um, that is a point that I think is for replayability important, that you think this time I try to do something different than last time.
Do you like creating games that uh, um, take a player on a certain path and they should stick to that path, or do a bit of everything in a game?
Yes, I think this is one of the replayability points, that you may be able to use different paths and that you do not have one way to win, and the option to have uh, a choice. What do you want to do? So if you want to stay with one specific aspect of the game, you need to have a chance to win. At the same time, you, in my opinion, you need to have the choice to say, I try a little bit of all what the game offers me and win as well. So I do not like games where you need to go one path from the start right to the end, and if you go one step beside that path, you will lose because um, you need to stick to this path.
I see. That might be why I like Arkwright. So,
Yes, in Arkwright, you need to react on what happens during the game.
exactly. Yeah.
What do the other players do they come into your market? Then you have to react, or do they not? Then you need to press all
Yeah,
of the people in that market that you can.
and I think that that is a way to create replayability in a game, of relying on what players do, not what the game does every time. So the game changes, the state of the game changes from what other players are doing.
Yeah.
And then you have created replayability. Every time the game will be different because players will react most likely different every time. Sorry. Um, let's talk a bit about artwork and graphic design. Do you work with an artist very close when you create the final version of the game, or do you just say this is what I want, and you let him do whatever he wants?
I have some ideas that I talk about with the designer if I have the option to do so. Some publishers say, well, it is our part of the business. We do not want the designer to be involved too much. But uh, most of the work is done by the artist and the illustrator, and they are in charge and they need to do their work. And um, of course, I am happy if they take some of my ideas or ask me what I want to have in their illustrations, but mainly it's their part of the business.
Why do I ask this question? Is because I'm coming from the film business, and business film art, and there is two sides of the business or the art. There is the cinema, le cinéma d'auteur, the cinema of the author, which is the European style, let's say, where the director has a lot of input in everything that happens, and is the the other type of cinema, which is, let's say, more coming from the other side of the pond, which is more around creating money, creating more as a business than the idea of expressing yourself. Although it has a bit of it, of course. And I'm curious to see how every designer sees his work, how if he's invested or not into the way that the product looks in the end, or yeah, some like to work with, but most of it, as far as I've seen in the industry, the artist does his own thing.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yes, it's mainly when it comes to illustration itself. When it comes to um, the final product, then I'd like to be involved uh, because I want to have product that is um, playable as easy as possible. So I want to have a look, where are the icons? Can the icons be seen very well, or are they shadowed and are not very good to see, and something like that. Um, but it depends on the illustrator and graphic artist, because some of them are also game designers and they know about all these things, and some are more, yes, artists and illustrators to make nice graphics, and not too much of the game is understood by them. It depends on who is the graphic designer.
I see. Um, where do you where do you look for ideas, and how you how do you in the end say, okay, this is good, I can move forward with this?
Ideas come from everywhere. I am interested in historical themes, and look and watch on TV some broadcast documentations about historical themes, and I got ideas from there. And yes, when I'm driving, I sometimes rethink about what I have heard or seen in the past and think about what of these is interesting to make a game about.
So, and how do you know, okay, this will work or this is a good idea for a game?
Yeah, it needs to be interesting from the setting. Um, I think themes like the Hanseatic League or Middle Ages are always something that is possible, but of course, maybe at some point it is burned and not too interesting anymore. But it depends on how good the mechanics or the idea behind the game at the first step fits to the setting. And sometimes, like in Santo Domingo, you see it is possible to change it completely from one setting to another. Maybe you are aware that it was published under the Austria label first as a Hanseatic League game called Wisby, and Pegasus turned it into
Okay.
the Caribbean Sea. So sometimes mechanics are possible in different setups.
Settings. Yeah, yeah. Um, Now let's talk about something, a thing that I really that every heavy Euro gamer likes, which is randomness. How do you approach randomness, and how do you like to place it in your games?
Yes, it's interesting to talk about randomness because it's difficult to say what is randomness. It is just a roll of a die or drawing cards from a deck. Um, Uli correctly said at some point it's not always randomness, like for example in Weimar, because it's more than calculating of chances. So it depends on what kind of influence, what kind of options to manipulate um, a chance creating game component do you have. So if it is a short game like Mountain Goats, there's of course no, in my opinion, no problem in having dice ruling what options you have. They offer you the options you have. In other games where you have a strategic approach and want to have more influence on what's going on, it is more or less a problem to have lots of thinking in a first step, and in a second step, all of this is blown away by just a roll of die. So I think it's depending on what kind of game you are playing. If you have an expert game, most people, and so do I, have problems with too much um, randomness.
Yeah, but do you think it is needed though?
It depends on what part of the game you mean. If it is randomness, like in Gentis, in what order comes
The cards get
buildings
out.
on the
Yeah.
cards on the play, and you know what your chances are, then it's completely okay in every game, in my opinion, because you can adjust your strategy and your choices on how to play the game. If it is at the end of your decision making, whether you succeed or not, like in Risk, then I'm not too fond of it.
um, and so you do like, and in my opinion, every game should have randomness from some, because otherwise it becomes more or less chess,
Mm.
and the only random aspect of that game is the other player. S- Uh,
Yes, and your limited options or your limited abilities to think 3, 4, 5, or 10 turns ahead.
yeah. So what? Now I think we're kind of done with some of these designer questions. I would go a bit to you are a publisher also, because your wife has the publishing house, which is House, the small publishing company, which is Osteaspiele. Um, is it hard to do that side of the business?
From a business perspective, it is very hard because it is the problem that there are so many games and so many publishers out there. So it is very difficult to get some audience and get some attention to your games. From a fun perspective, it is not hard. It's a lot of fun. It's something different than just creating games. As a publisher, you have the full work, or you have the full fun of deciding about what will the cards be like, who will do the illustrations, what box size is useful, and all these um, thinking about what is best and figure out what is possible from cost perspective is a lot of fun. Of course, it is some work as well, but from
Sorry.
a business perspective, it is very, very hard.
Yeah, it's just you sound typically German. It's fun to do all of these mechanical stuff.
Yes, because it is. I do not know if it is a German thing to
It's fun
say.
to find the right box and find
It
the.
is fun. It is fun and satisfying to have the power to decide something. To
Oh yeah.
say, well, I think this is the best way to do it, and then you can do it. If you do only the design and give it to a publisher, you have, of course, not
Don't have the
too much
control.
options, not too
Yeah.
many points where you can say, this is what I want, and it will be done like you want to do it.
Yeah. What do you think of GameFound or Kickstarter or crowdfunding solutions in this day and age? Is it the only viable solution for a smaller publisher like you are?
Um, of course, it helps to have some money at the beginning, right from production point, and not to pay for the production at first, and then after half a year or later, you get the income. Um, but the business is so professional, and it gets more and more um, professional with all the videos and the animations and the miniatures, that it is even difficult to just set a spotlight on your game in this uh, area in crowdfunding platforms, more than it was 5 or 10 years ago, where it was more or less easy to have some attention because there were not too much product at the same time on the same platform. So I think it's very interesting tool for small publishers, um, but it's getting more and more harder to do it.
To draw attention to the
Yep,
to even on Kickstarter to or more even on crowdfunding
yep,
for an audience for big audience. Do you
yep.
think that I mean we see that games with, as you say, with huge huge minis, artwork, flashy things, they do get the attention. Uh, do you think there is still a market and still a future for these smaller, good games, but that don't have a huge production and do not cost an arm and a leg?
I think the audience is broad enough, and it is not unique one or not a homogeneous one. It's a audience with different interests, but it's difficult to have a good product that gets to the market and gets to the audience, because in each of the different areas of the market there are so many games. So I think there will be a spot, and there will be a market niche for most of the games that we have, but it will be very difficult to have, yes, as a single publisher for each of the publishers to bring their games to the customers in this niche.
And as a designer, as a man, as a publisher, how do you see the future of this industry?
Very difficult to say. I think it will be developing as it did in the past. Of course, there will be some changes as always. There will be new publishers. There will be some publishers going out of the market. The tendency that the games will be more and more complex, I think, will be maintained, will be go forward. But of course, there will be a lot of smaller games and easier games as well.
Do you see it? The games are getting more and more expensive. We saw games as books, as so you take it, you play it for a while, and then you get to the next one, you get to the next one. With games getting more and more expensive, do you think this will happen in the future? Will still happen in the future?
Yes, I think there will be products and games like Castles of Burgundy or other games that have the audience that is prepared to pay a lot of money for one single copy of a game. We will have games that are new and are coming with all the shiny things and miniatures that attract people to spend a lot of money. But I'm sure that this will be not the main market. It's a niche for those who like all these stuff, all the shiny things. But there's other part of a market that is more focused on the core components and the retail versions, and I think this will be the main market.
I see. Could you talk us briefly about how goes? No, not yet. There. Sorry. Um, let's go out and let's. This is a difficult question in a way. Could you tell me what is fun to you?
Pardon?
What is fun to you when it comes to games? What is fun? What do you consider
Uh,
fun?
yes, in playing games, it's finding out strategies and learning the game. What does the game offer for options to um, go ahead and play the game and try out to find a way to succeed against others or against the game if it is a cooperative one.
Um, and could you talk us about what is? Could you tell us which one? Which is your favorite? Do you have a favorite game? Which one is it?
Oh, I play the newest games with most of fun. So it's not to say that I have one single all-time favorite, but it is still some kind of Catan that I play from time to time, and so it's more or less the one that is kept as the game I play most.
Is Catan?
Yes, Settlers of Catan, yeah. But
Well, that sounds interesting.
of course, the number one position of Catan is something that is also created by all the new games that I only play once or twice, or let's say seldom more than 5 times. So overall, there is most plays of Catan in the statistics.
I see. Um, and could you talk us fast? How is a day in your life go by? What do you normally do?
yes, wake up and go to work, come home, sometimes play a game, and then watch some TV and go to bed. At the weekends, I try to play some golf and go out with friends to play games, visit my mother or some friends,
I see.
develop games.
Develop games. A lot of things around gaming. Um, I suppose that your most played game is also your favorite. You said it's not your favorite. Do you have a game that I would say you would say if I would wake you up in the middle of the night and say tell me which game you want to play? What game is that?
Uh, I I cannot say this because it's no, I do not have a specific game that I would
No.
choose.
No.
No,
Okay. Um, and do you have a favorite designer?
not one favorite designer. I have some designers I like, and it depends on the mood, what style of design I'd like to play and use, and but the German ones are, in my opinion, still the good ones, um, and but the others are yes, also very good in the past years. I think it developed over the decades, and
So no
it's more
names.
more games I like than designers.
So no names.
No
Uh,
names, no.
uh, and uh, I really like this quote. It comes from Orson Welles, and he said, "Ignorance, there's no authority like it. It's a how is it? How should I put it? It's a knife with two edges. Um, I don't like to be ignorant. On the other hand, if you want to, sometimes you need to be ignorant in life to go far, because otherwise you won't do anything if you don't have a tiny bit of ignorance. Um, but I usually try not to be ignorant, so that's why I'm going to ask you. Do you want to say something at the end? Something that I might not have asked you.
Not really. I thank you for being here. I am enjoying all the people who like my games, and uh, it's part of the fun to be a game designer, to see people playing your game and having fun. So thanks to all of you.
Oh, cool. So you had something to say. And now we finish this part, and now we'll go to the fast questionnaire, which is really really fast. So you're going to answer. You need to answer fast without thinking too much of it. The questionnaire comes from Proust, from Marcel Proust, and it was distilled through a very well-known French TV presenter, then taken by an American one, and I stole it from there. And the questionnaire starts with, "What is your favorite word?" You can say it in German also.
Favorite work?
Word, word, word.
Yes, I'm failing in answering fast, of course. Um, that game is not made for an attorney. Um, favorite word? I do not have a favorite word. There are so many words.
A word that you like, that you really like.
Games.
Games. It's a good one. What is your least favorite word?
War.
What turns you on creatively, emotionally, spiritually?
Playing games.
What turns you off?
Cheating.
uh, what is your favorite drug?
I do not like drugs at all.
Love can be a drug,
Okay, then it's love.
or music, or we can have different types of drugs. Drugs do not have to be pills or things like that. Drugs. So yeah. Um, what is your favorite? And everyone loves this question. What is your favorite curse word?
Pardon?
What is your favorite curse word?
Curse?
Curse word, yes. Like swearing. Your favorite swearing. You know,
No idea.
like the F word in English.
Okay. Uh, I pass that question.
You have none.
No.
You are not human like the rest of us. I part this question. This was such an attorney way of going to the right. What sound or noise do you love?
All kind of music.
Or what sound or noise do you hate?
Fire alarm.
Which profession outside the one you already do you would like to attempt?
Um, uh, Illustrator. Something I can't do and I'd like to do.
Correct. What profession outside the one you already do you would not like to attempt?
Um, those questions are very difficult to say what you do not like and not being impolite. Uh, I think I passed that one too.
You like everything? You would like to do everything?
Not really, but nothing I want to say I would not do or I don't like.
There's nothing, I don't know. For example, I wouldn't like to I don't know, clean the sewage,
Mm.
or going underneath do something that I would not like to do. That it's not a very pleasant job. So most likely I would not like to do that. There's
Yes, but someone has to do it,
Yeah,
so
that's right.
it's not fair to say that this is not a good job to I
It's not,
want like to do. So
no, no. Does not say. That's not saying that. On the other, that is not saying that that is not a good job, or a job that someone needs to do. It's something that I would not like to do it
mm,
if it's possible. That's the idea.
yeah.
And the last one is, if heaven exists, what do you expect God to say to you when you arrive at the pearly gates?
I do not expect too much. Wait and see.
Wait and see. That's what he's going to say.
Yeah.
Wait and see. Okay. So I want to thank you. Most certainly this caught you a bit by surprise, but this is why this is. Um, I want to thank you for doing this interview. I thank you for your time. I hope you had a good time.
Thank you.
And I kindly ask you to not close the connection. We'll speak a bit afterwards.
Okay.
I will do the outro. Do you want to say something at the end to the people who are watching?
No, I think we have said all, and thank you.
Okay. So I'll alone. I want to thank, as always, this was the interview again with Stefan. If you enjoy, please. Oh, hey, Marcus. If you enjoy what you see, again, like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Um, we will be doing some more of these interviews. We are setting them up. If you enjoy it, again, uh, like, subscribe, and so on. And I want to thank again Stefan for doing this interview, taking the time. If you, try Arkwright if you get the chance. Try Arkwright, the card game. I think they're great games. Gentes, his new game Epos, which is a game in the Gentes universe. I'm very happy to have had him here. So until next time, which is going to be, we're going to do a playthrough today or tomorrow. One of these days. We'll have to wait and see. Until next time, what it says, I wish you all it says here. Play a lot, play loads, as you Brits say, have fun. And bye-bye, fine folks, wherever in the world you are. Oh, let's close the